Hi, welcome back to the Box of Lives game channel. We're playing Level 7 Escape. This is a semi-cooperative survival horror board game for 1 to 4 players. So I'm going to give you a solitaire playthrough, but I'm going to use 2 characters so I can give you a more detailed overview of how the characters interact. Let's take a look inside the box and see what we get. I've boxed up these components myself. This is the way I like to organise my games, and it fits nicely back in the game box and it lets me play out of the box. Let's get set up and I'll go straight into the gameplay and we'll learn to play as we play. We get 2 rule books, one with the basic rules and then one with the scenarios. Now I'm going to warn you now, the scenarios play as a sequence from level 1 through to level 7, and I'm going to dive in straight in at level 2. I'm going to let you play level 1 for yourselves, and of course there's going to be a little bit of a spoiler here, but there's lots of replayability. I'm not giving much away in regard to the scenario, so I won't read you the fluff that goes with this and the story behind it. I'm just going to set it up and give you an example of how the game plays. First off, we're going to choose our characters. There's 4 characters to choose from. Their various stats are all identical, so it doesn't really matter, apart from cosmetics, which of these 2 characters we choose. But what is variable once we've chosen our 2 players is that each gets unique skills. So there's 2 skills for each player. So we grab the skill deck and we give it a good shuffle. You can see these are these little undersized cards, which is great for saving space. And you're not going to be handling these cards, they're just going to sit on your character sheet to tell you specifically what skills your character has. So you can see there's a ton of variability already for this first stage of setup. So we're going to grab 2 skills for our girl character. She's subject 32SCF040B, alright, or Jackie, or whatever name you want to give her. The premise here is that we are both prisoners of the government-funded Subterra Bravo facility, which is a labyrinthine structure hidden beneath the earth. We've awakened deep in this facility and we've got to try and escape. There's guards that are going to be patrolling this facility, but not just government soldiers, the guards. There's also voracious aliens whom we and our fellow prisoners must avoid, and whom are also a threat to the guards themselves. So our girl prisoner, she is lucky, and she is zenful. She has zen and lucky skills. We'll talk about what those mean once we get into the game. Our guy prisoner, he is skilled in self-defense training, and he's a science whiz. Next, depending on our scenario, we need to set up a few little tokens. We each have a fear marker which begins at 3. This is our level of fear. It can go up and down on these tracks, and as you'll see during gameplay, it can influence how quick we are, what our reactions are like, how quickly our brains respond to the situation, how our adrenaline can help us adjust our fear levels and influence our ability to fight or take flight. Each scenario also dictates what our starting vitality will be. So 5 vitality means we get 5 cards, and our vitality is reflected by our hand size. So the more fit we are, the more cards we have in our hand. And we also start with 1 threat token, and this represents how much of a threat we are relative to each other and relative to the guards and aliens that are also creeping through the prison. And this will make more sense as the game begins, and when we see some of this AI play out, you'll understand how the threat's having an influence. The scenario book here tells us that the guards start the scenario with a fear of 0, and the aliens, which the game calls clones, start with a threat of 0. This is one of those games where the rules are quite complex in the way they interact with each other, so I'm not going to bog you down with rules. I want to give you an example of how the game plays. So sit back and watch, and I'll teach you the intricacies of the rules as they play out. This is the adrenaline deck. We're going to give this a shuffle, and remember our vitality of 5? This tells us how many of these adrenaline cards we get. Now, adrenaline cards will do things like allow you to alter your level of fear, or make you more intelligent, or make you stronger. Okay? So these are things that you can do during the game to react to the situations around you. So you can see that our girl here, who we're calling Jackie, has an intelligence of 2. These are our stats. 2 strength, 2 speed, and 1 toughness. Our guy here, let's call him Luke. He has exactly the same stats, and the only things that are going to alter those are these skills. So Luke has +1 strength and +1 intelligence. Let's deal out these cards. It's 5 each because of our vitality. The other cards we're going to need are this item deck and this event deck. The item deck represents things that we're going to find as we're exploring each of the levels. And the event deck, this is what's going to control the AI of the guards and the clones that are wandering through the facility. And it's also not just going to control the AI, but it's also going to throw up different things that occur. Alright, so it's kind of dual purpose, these cards, but you'll see that as we play. Next we're going to create the enemy reserve pools. There's a threat pool and a lockdown pool. Lockdown signifies the game kind of forcing an end. Things have started to intensify. You've got to get out of here right away, otherwise you're in big trouble. And the number of tokens in this lockdown pool is equal to, well, it depends on the scenario, but in our case it's 2 plus the number of players. We've got 2 players, so it's 4. Each scenario is going to give you specific situations that cause lockdown, but in addition there's a threat pool. And in our scenario it's 1 plus the number of players, and these are these threat tokens that are available. Remember, our character sheet has a threat level. The threat tokens that go here come from the threat pool. So as we become more threatening, we bring lockdown even closer, which means the end of the game is even closer. We've got to get out of here. Next, each scenario tells us how many guards there are and how many clones, how many aliens there are. So for us, there's going to be a maximum of 4 guards. So we take these 4 guard tokens. And clones, well, there's going to be 6 in this scenario. So there's quite a few more alien clones prowling. And these are what is known as the reserves. We'll keep those in numerical order with number 1 at the top. We also have these character tokens for each of our players. So we'll take 1 for Jackie, 1 for Luke, and these stands that we can use to have our character stand and explore the facility. Next we need to take our terrain tiles. We have some oversized tiles here. This one represents the airlock and the tank farm. This one, maintenance tunnel and B-lift. And this set of tiles is our regular set of random locations. Each scenario is going to give you a configuration. Stack A, stack B, and final stack here on level 6. We need to create a stack A of 6 tiles, stack B of 18 tiles plus 6 control panel tiles, and then the remaining tiles go in the final stack. So let's set this up for us. It said control panel tiles. Each of these tiles has little icons on here. This is a control panel tile. This yellow icon here represents the type of tile it is. So all we've got to do here is seek out all the control panel tiles. Okay, we found all 6. We're going to randomise these. And we're going to randomise the remainder. The game also tells us we need to put the A-lift tile back in the box because that's where we've just come from. And we're going to grab 6 tiles to form stack A. We're going to mix our 6 control panel tiles in with 18 of these. And then with the remainder, we form stack C, just a random stack of random tiles. C, B, A. The B lift tile is going to go in the centre of the table for this scenario, and this is where our prisoners begin the game. We've just escaped from level 7. We've made it to an elevator. We've come out on level 6 and the elevator's broken down. We need to get to level 5, but the elevator's ground to a halt. The guards have cut the power. Our job now is to locate the control panels that regulate the elevator power. Access enough of them, we can get back on the elevator and continue with our escape. The scenario tells us that there aren't many guns on this level. We've got to remove 2 guns from the item deck. It's going to make it a little tougher for us to be aggressive during the game. So these are going to go back to the box for now, and then we'll reshuffle up our item deck. And now we're going to set out exploring. The scenario tells us we've got to find 3 of these control panels, and obviously you can adjust the difficulty if you want. You can make it a little bit harder by heading to 4, a little bit easier by only making it 2. But it's not enough to just find those control panels, we've actually got to activate them, and that's going to be a test against our intelligence, and I'll show you how that works when we get there.